in our industry, they don't know how to measure risk, and they don't understand what's a reasonable amount of risk.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Collecting Keys Real Estate Investing Podcast. Here with your hosts, Mike DeHaan and Dan Austin. Dylan Cook is out today. I was going to make a super off-color joke, but I'll tell you afterwards, Dan. Remind me. Dylan will be out for the next little bit. Don't worry, he's fine. So you're stuck with Dan and myself. All right, guys, we were recording this on September 11th. So never forget. Very big, I would say, life event for everyone that's like our age and like mid-30s to early 40s.
What, my daughter's learning about in school?
It's 9/11?
The Great Attack.
Is that what they call it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my wife was putting her to bed, and my daughter was like, oh, we have these books. And so like in free time, she'll like read these books, and can't remember what they're called, but she's like, I was reading this one about the Great Attack. And my wife's like, what is that? And she's like, well, like where these like airplanes hit these big buildings. And my wife's like, oh, okay, well, let's talk about that. Like, it's like history that we've lived that now like our kids like have no idea. Like they don't have any emotional tie to it. They don't even understand it. They call it the Great Attack.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like if they're going to be putting labels on stuff, you got to like send out a notice to the parents. So that when your kid comes and asks about something that you've never heard of before, you can at least like know what they're talking about. Yeah,
I was just like, that's so crazy though to think, because I mean, golly, I mean, it was 24 years ago now, which is a lifetime legit for like my daughter. It's like 4 times my daughter's life. So, yeah.
I mean, do you think that like there was kids in the 50s that like went to school and they're like, Daddy, we need to, do you know about the Battle of the Bulge? You know, like, it's like, what was that? He's like, oh, we just called that, whatever. Like, I was there,
Well, but here's the thing though. It's like, that's a good point.
Because like D-Day, that was like actually what the whole event was called, right? But there's a lot of little battles that we've given names over the years, or like events that I don't know if they called it that at the time.
Yeah, probably not. It's like they didn't call World War One World War One.
Yeah, it's just the Great War.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what the good thing is though is the winners get the right to history. So
that's true. So we get
we don't know what really happened. We just know we won, and so we got to tell the story of how it actually maybe didn't happen.
Totally. That's for better or for worse. But we're looking forward to dive into this just because it is super pressing news. So we're recording this the day after the Charlie Kirk incident. We're not going to talk about it a lot, but I imagine that by the time you hear this, which will be 5 days from now, there'll probably be a lot of new things that have come out. I just think that the main thing to keep in mind, especially because in real estate, it's very, very much a Republican crowd for a lot of people out there that, I don't know, it was a very, very big deal. There's also a lot of us that honestly, I didn't even know who this dude was until he was on South Park like 2 weeks ago. And so if you are, I would say, being enamored and it's not something that you can relate to, the outrage of these people, you're not alone with that. I don't know. To me personally, he's like another shooting statistic, as bad as that sounds. It was a very public, high profile thing, a very terrible thing that happened. But at the same time, we have school shootings and different things that happen every single day. And when I don't have a personal attachment to these people, at the end of it, I don't know. It's a really challenging thing that happened in the United States yesterday, and it's going to cause a lot of emotional turmoil and conflict with people. But at the same time, there's a whole population of us who had no attachment and just witnessed a crazy, probably historical event that might turn into, something that our kids talk about. It's like, oh, do you remember the Utah incident in 10 years from now? Who knows? But either way, that's all I'm going to say on it. Just what's that? What's that?
Agree to disagree.
You and me can agree to disagree on that? Sure.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah. But either way, it's we're not going to expand on it or dive into it too much, but it's a challenging thing. And I bet by next Tuesday, this will either be reminding you that even happened, or there will be a bunch more information around it, and we'll find out then. But cool.
More to come.
More to come. But let's talk about real estate and business. So coming on that end, we are coming into a week with super low-term interest rates, which has been actually really fascinating. Looking into some of the product stuff that have been coming around with that on both the investor side and the retail side. I saw a headline this morning that said this week the mortgage applications are 3 times higher than they've been at any other point this year so far.
Really?
So if you have flip sitting on the market, that's hopefully a good omen for you. There'll be some more buyers coming out. But of course, when they say, mortgage applications are 3 times higher, whenever they use general comparisons like that, they can skew it however they want.
Higher to what?
Totally. Or they could be like 3 times higher in this one rural county in South Carolina, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's nationwide. And they also could have like picked a very select period of time. Like in this 2-hour window was like the largest 2-hour window than any others, and so take it with a grain of salt. But either way, from our view, on the lender side, we've seen some super, super low rates, especially on long-term stuff, to the point that I'm actually considering doing a refinance on a couple of my longer-term properties that I've been trying to sell. I've been unable to, and I have like a 3.75% rate. But if I'm able to do like a cash out right now at like a high 5s or like a low 6s interest only, sure, I'll be giving up some cash flow, but the opportunity cost in business is just so much higher than that cash flow that seems to be more and more fleeting right now. And so might not be a bad time to consider that if you've been sitting on some equity in your properties that you've either been trying to get out by selling, or you see it kind of just like wasting away there. But it definitely, at least from what I can remember the past couple of years, it seems like probably one of the best times to explore dropping some of those interest rates, even if they're super low, and make some moves. But I mean, is this the lowest it's been since like 21, 22 timeframe?
No, when I was looking at the graph, it was a little bit lower in this time last year.
Was it really?
It was like 6.08. Yeah.
That's like the federal rates though. The DSCRs were definitely not lower back then.
Oh, the DSCRs. Yeah. I feel like this is the lowest it's been in, probably since like, I'm trying to think of the last DSCR loan we got was like 4.5, and that was in 2022.
Oh, that was a long time ago, though. Yeah,
2022. So, and I think they steadily climbed from that point forward, and were not very favorable loans at the time.
Yeah.
Now they have kind of flipped, and if you're an investor and you're going to keep something, single family or whatever, it seems like that's like the loan. That's the loan product I'd be getting. I have some friends that they can't get Fannie Freddie because they own more. They got their 10 mortgage maxed out, and so they've gone to like commercial loans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about DSCR loans, and it's like clearly a much better product now for
it is
such a lower interest rate. It's like they're long-term 30-year fixed people, right? Yeah. Where else are you going to get that? Nowhere, with a good rate and a good, like actually decent terms compared to like a commercial loan's going to be fine, but it's going to have a readjustment period. The rates probably aren't going to be as low as these DSCRs.
Yeah, they're not. Or if they are, you're right, they're going to have like a 5-year adjustment, a 10-year balloon, and they're going to be a shorter amortization.
Right.
Or like something too that we've seen, which I don't know if this is like how long ago these came around, but like this 30-year fixed for like smaller multifamilies up to like 20 units. Right. And I think that's pretty interesting as well, because those were some of the biggest assets that got crushed during like this multifamily collapse over the past couple of years. A lot of the ones that really got hammered were like the big ones, but there was a ton of people that were doing these 10 to 20 units that were forced to get this commercial debt. But now you have like the big money, the hedge funds that are coming and willing to give 30-year fixed on that product.
Yeah, which is interesting because it tells me like that you got to think about why that is, or what is like the long-term results in the next 5 to 10 years. And obviously money's going there because they think it's a secure asset, or that there's reason to believe that the returns there will be better. It's like the risk versus reward thing.
Yeah.
And so why wouldn't you want to be looking at those assets if that's where the big money's going? Because when big money comes, it's just like with the housing market in general. If you're a consumer, like they drop the rates. The idea is in a perfect world that will spur demand. And so then that means prices go up. Right. And so you want to be on the front end of that.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing with the DSCR lenders that are coming into like that smaller multifamily space is they're still analyzing it in a commercial way. They're still looking at cap rates and everything else. It's not like they're just like changing to do residential comps, but now they're promising a much longer term debt period. Right. And the rates are quite a bit higher. So like we quoted one out the other day. It was just a 6 unit, and the like duplexes and stuff we've been getting in like the low mid 6s, and the 6 unit was up at like 7.5. So it's a good chunk higher, but that's a 30-year fixed mortgage. You don't have to worry about it, them adjusting rate and needing to do a new assessment, which if you guys don't know how this works, what can theoretically happen is, let's say you get to the 5-year point with a commercial loan on a multifamily, they're going to do their rate adjustment. They'll also do a adjustment on the value of the property. If the value of the property has gone down because cap rates have risen, this is what destroyed everybody over the last couple of years. If cap rates have gone down, they will say, oh, you actually now need to bring money to the table to keep our loan at a reasonable loan to value for this property. And so what you had happening was you had all these people that were doing these like 150 unit properties, and the values of them had gone down significantly because the cap rates had gone up, and they're like, oh, now you need to bring $6, $8, $10 million to make your loan the appropriate loan to value for you to keep lending with us. And then you had all these operators that were like, okay, cool, I guess you can just take the property back. And then they lose all their investors' money, which was the equity that they thought they had in the deal. Right. Or you have people that start doing other things like trying to raise more money to pay down the debt on the existing properties. Some of the large operators out there were doing these raises that try and like have enough money to be able to buy down their own debt, or doing silly things like starting other businesses to be able to try and like generate that cash. They could do it themselves. And that's just a losing game for everybody. But the hedge funds aren't doing this because they're doing a 30-year fix. So technically the risk of that happening will be zero, and you can just hold on to it forever. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with that debt, if they're like planning you to like sell the property after X periods of time, or if they have someone upstream that wants to buy it at a premium. But it's just a really interesting thing I've never seen before. Yeah, I do. It makes me wonder, because like there's no way any investment tool or any like person's going to try to hold the debt for 30 years, especially because the interesting thing is when you actually look at the debt, like most of the interest is collected up front. The interest rate on the capital is the same, right? It's just how much capital is deployed. And so it's more favorable to deploy larger money, right? In the beginning, because now you're collecting, say 6% on 150,000 versus 6% on 50,000. And so as those things age, it's more fractionalized, right? Because there's a bunch of smaller loans in there with like the same amount of interest return, but it's not as favorable to deploy your capital that way. So you're like, they're not going to want these in 10 years, let alone even 3 years probably. But why? What are they going to do with it? And I'm sure that there is some level of foreclosure rate that they know exists because it's smart money. And there's probably some level of like, most people sell these things or refinance within 7 years. Maybe it could be as high as like 90% for all I know. I would imagine it would be much higher than like owner occupants, right? Like typically people aren't forever holding, 15 unit properties, mostly just because the CapEx will catch up to you. Like kind of how a lot of that works is, you kind of got to pass the duck, right? You get it, you squeeze as much out of it as you can. And then once you sort of have the impending issues, you sell it to somebody that sees those issues as their opportunity to create value. And then they can go and do that on their deal. Right. Yep. So you're probably right. There's probably some forecasting, a whole bunch of data behind that. I don't know. It's like, it's a new thing to me to see that exist.
It's new to me, and I like it.
Yeah. So either way, I would say like a lot of that is very bullish those are very bullish sort of sentiments for the long term of the real estate market, despite the fact that things continue to get slower and slower and slower and slower in like the today period. Yeah. I've seen now, I think every single state is officially in a worse real estate position than it was than it has been over the last 5 years in terms of like time on market, number of price reductions, listings versus active buyers. For a while, there was a couple states that were holding on that were still in like an equal position. Washington was one of them, but now we've officially crossed into like the market is less healthy than it was. And I think all states are now in that
feels that way. We got some flips sitting there for longer. Not that they're, I shouldn't say that they're on the market, because we've had some stuff sit on the market for the average days on market, which you can't be disappointed with.
I know. Right? That's a realistic expectation, right? Is you need to look at what that average of market, and until you hit that point, you're technically performing as expected.
Yeah, exactly. Your average performance. The one gotcha on that is when you have the best products in that neighborhood because you flipped something top to bottom and you did a value add, right? Like we did an ensuite bathroom in the basement, which is not common in that neighborhood, right? It's a good neighborhood, good solid neighborhood. We're at what I would consider a right at the medium price point, but you're like, why is this not getting an offer within the first week and a half? Like, you're like, now if we get an offer this week, I'll talk to you next week and be like, oh no, it's perfect, man. We got an offer like in 15 days, average, time on market's 45. Like, but until that happens, you're kind of like, ooh, this doesn't feel normal. You know what I mean? It just feels a little slower. So I guess compared to what we were selling in the beginning of the year versus now, I could feel that a little bit.
I do think there's a big part of that that's like, what's the right word? Like, if you had a period of your life where like things were like awesome, where you were like a stud, right? Like, let's say you're an athletic guy that's in your mid 30s, but you were like just a freaking star athlete in high school. There's always a little piece of you that like everything you do is still kind of like attached to that. It's still kind of like the expectation. You're like, I can lift that. Oh, I can run that fast. I feel like that also exists in business where, what you're saying with like the real estate transactions, there's still a part of us that's like in that 2020 and 2021 where it's like, well, this deal can be the one that sells in 2 days. Right. Like why wouldn't it be? Like, I can definitely, still bench press that. Right. Like,
totally.
But that's just the reality. It's is that it's not going to be the case,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that'll ever go away. Right. That'll always kind of just like linger as like a shadow of like the past of like the hopes and dreams. But it's important to not let that define your expectations entirely.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. As you're talking about that, that's all I ever think about in these conversations is the dude that's sitting there with 10, 15 houses on the market who wants to be the big dog flipper. And I'm just like, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
It makes okay sense in a really good market, and it makes less and less sense as the markets aren't really hot. Mm-hmm. And then you're in a sluggish market. And the reason why it doesn't make sense, I'm thinking about it not from like a total ROI or like a total income. I'm just thinking about it from a efficiency of your cash and your capital and how hard it is to cycle that money back into your bank and how much risk. And I think this is what people, especially in our industry, they don't know how to measure risk, and they don't understand what's a reasonable amount of risk. And so like you take what a guy whose net worth is maybe $800,000, right? Maybe he's got some stocks, nice little house he lives in, a couple rental properties, nothing crazy, but 800,000 is nothing to look down on. It's a good amount of money, but they have 10 $180,000 flip loans plus, another $300,000 in repair costs out there, and they're sitting on the market or in various stages. You got basically, let's just say double, maybe triple your actual net worth out there in debt, sitting in a market that you can't necessarily control. Like, now ask, and the upside to that, by the way, is not $3 million. The upside is maybe 300,000.
Yeah.
And so you go to like a Wall Street investor analyst or somebody that's in a hedge fund or REIT, like they're going to look at that and they're going to be like, that risk is upside down. Totally. Like, you're going to risk 3 times your net worth and essentially earn a 10% return. And by the way, like 3 times, meaning it will wipe out your net worth and you will not be able to get a loan for 7 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on where that net worth is. If it's in equity and you would lose it with the house, for sure. If it's in like cash and other things, the risk is the asset. Like, you give up whatever money you have in there, you can give that back to your bank. You're
personal guaranteeing all these loans.
You're personal guaranteeing it, for sure. There's always like, that's more of a productive conversation than people realize if you're not doing bad stuff. Like, the vast majority of hard money lenders, if you're using like decent hard money lenders, not like the random crooked old dude that's just waiting to steal your money, right?
Which there are those. Exist.
They exist. We have a very prominent one here that's super problematic that we run into a lot on refinances. If they're like a decent lender, they typically don't want to clean you out. They just want you to be successful with the deal. And if you're not going to be, to just work with them on it and let them deal with the shitstorm that you caused.
Figure out how to get their money back.
Yeah. And if you didn't do like bad shit, they're normally not going to sue you. Like, that's just not the industry that they're actually in. But I think that the sort of counterpoint to what you're saying on the risk piece is there's two main things. One is, if you can be one of those people that can survive in the hard times, then when it goes to the good times again, you can make such an asymmetrical gain that you will make it so the hard times didn't really matter, right? You can make just make such huge gains in that short period when times are really good, like a lot of the house flippers did in the 2020 and 2021 that were active earlier, right? They made so much more money than everybody else because they already had their systems built from the prior time when it was a little bit more mediocre, right? So there's that piece. Also, too, if it's a business that you love, like even though you and me, Dan, we've kind of like crossed over on this a little bit just because we've gotten a little bit jaded and we've had some success with the lending and different things. But there are people that love to flip houses and like love that process of like owning real estate and doing different things. And if you love it so much that slightly reduced return and potentially asymmetrical risk is worth it to you, that's fine. Just own that. It's just like, I would say it's the worst time to be going into that business if it's not something that you're just like super passionate about, right? If you're trying to like use that to like make your first buck, it's a really rough time to be trying to do it. Or if it's something that you've begrudgingly done for the last whatever number of years and you're just like trying to figure out what your next thing is, it's probably time to just move on and find that next thing.
Right. Yeah. And I would never argue against a person that's like, even if they're starting out in this market, I agree. If you can figure out how to do it in this market, you'll do it really well in the other markets. But like, I would never argue against a guy doing 4 flips, 1 or 2 at a time, making 120 grand a year. That's a freaking awesome. That's an awesome salary for working for yourself to realistically working like 20 hours a week, if that. That's pretty sick. And I think that's great. I think to your point, when it's like, if you're just starting out and you're trying to be like Mr. Big Dog, like 10 flips at a time is a lot. Like that's truly a lot. Now, it's not a lot for some people. There's some guys, we have friends this way, like 10's fine. It maybe makes them a little nervous here and there, but that's what we do. We're always carrying 10. Some guys are always carrying 20, and that's fine. I think for the average listener people we work with, 10's a lot. It's a lot of risk for what your capabilities and skill sets are. I wouldn't do it personally. And you and I have done hundreds of deals. Like, it's just like, I just want to do it. I have other opportunities as well, though.
Well, totally. And the people that are doing more than that, I mean, those are like the 1% of the flipping industry, right? Like that is a very, very high caliber flipper. Totally. And that's, you shouldn't be making decisions to mirror the professionals in something that you're a semi-professional, you're an amateur at. Sure. Just playing a different ballgame. But,
also I will just close this out. I've never heard of a guy who's flipping 10 houses at a time and did it for 30 years.
It's very rare. I mean, like typically what they do is they expand into like a construction company, or they start like a franchise, or, they move on to something else. I'm trying to think, who is the longest flipper, like who's been doing it for the longest that we know? We've had a couple people on the show, like back when we were doing interviews, that have been doing it for like 20-ish years. Like
that's like their full-time gig is flipping.
Well, so that's the challenge, is like, is that their full-time gig, or they are a flipper that is also a real estate agent, And so like they make a lot of money on the real estate agent side, and then they flip houses like opportunistically, I can't think of anybody that's been doing it for more than a couple of years that like they're a full-time house flipping shop.
Yeah. Where they're like, they've got a staff, office crews. Like, we know one guy here locally that him and his dad have been doing it
for a long time. He might be close.
I would say they're probably, and they're not doing, 100 plus a year, but maybe between 50 and 100, depending on the year. You know what I mean?
I don't think they're doing that much.
50 for sure.
You think so? Bro, we can look this up. We got the data now.
On some of it, I think some of it's probably acquired like through line of credits and stuff. But you're right. We can see some of that. But I would say like probably over the years, average would be close to 50 that have been doing it for maybe a decade. But that's rare, and they're not even, I wouldn't say trying to do crazy amounts, but
they're probably the closest. I can't think of anybody else. I mean, we know quite a few that have been around for like 5-6 years, like 2019. But by that point, typically people have started to stray, even some of the like biggest flippers that we know. I mean, wholesaling becomes an inevitable part of the business if you're doing anything direct to seller, because you will eventually, if you're even like a tiny bit good at that, you will get more opportunities than you can physically do yourself. But I would say those are in like the same sort of wheelhouse. But outside of that, almost everyone strays into other things, like Ryan Dawsey, he's the original group that we came from. He's been doing this for a long time, I think since 2016, but he ultimately started CCF, and then he has Ballpoint, and he has, his sold fast, like franchise or like regional model that they're doing.
Call Porter.
Yeah, Call Porter. And then like if you look at like a lot of the OG guys like Tarl Yarber, they've abandoned it completely. They're just like running flipping conferences now. You know what it seems like is the entrepreneurs that are in the space, they go and start like other businesses.
Yeah.
And the people that aren't really entrepreneurs, they go and they start like education platforms.
Right.
You know?
That's kind of it. I mean, there's not that many dudes out there. Like I would think like even like Thatch, like he's kind of an OG that I don't even know if he flips houses because he just makes so much money now, but he just is like a buyer of houses and really nice properties. He maybe has flipped some houses to build up cash flow and like but he's dead. He's 100% all in. Mm-hmm. He did try to do some coaching stuff for a bit. I don't know if he's still doing it.
I think he is. I know I met someone not too long ago through SLA Capital that had like been working with him.
Oh, really?
He's got a pretty big presence out in Seattle.
Oh, yeah. He's a big dog out there.
But like, the problem is he's like the cause for all these dorks that are like, oh, we can take any home and segment off the backyard and condotize it into an ADU and sell that separately. Nobody wants that.
Nobody does.
Like literally, if you think about it, what's going to ultimately turn into, because they're gonna all do shoddy constructions. You're going to have a 1970s house in the front. Kind of looks like shit. Just throw a new kitchen in there. Cool. 1970 split level. In the back, you're going to build like this quasi modern ADU that's like just like squeezed back there, and they have to like share a driveway. Yep. So now you have all these properties that are like so close to each other with like no middle ground and like these really weird mishmash of styles for entire neighborhoods. That's essentially like how third world countries look. Like from the sky, like when you're flying over, you know, like some of these really dense places in like Southeast Asia and different things. Like, oh yeah, look at all like the tin roofs next to the modern roofs. They're all on top of each other. Like there's like kind of a street where two cars can go past each other, but there's nowhere to park. Like that's what we're moving towards.
Power lines going everywhere.
For sure, because half of it's underground. And then like with the modern code requirements, you had to run it underground to get to the back, but in the front, there's like strewn everywhere. We're basically just building Bangkok just way later than
the richest dude in India built in the slums. Apparently this is a thing in India. And I don't know, don't quote me on this, but I want to say it was like $1 billion they spent on building this skyscraper for their home in the slums of India. And they can look down on people. They don't even live there though. Like they just built it. And so once in a while they'll go there, but it's like legit in the slums. It's like one of their homes, but it's a skyscraper, dude.
Ooh, here's what you could do if you did that. So you have the skyscraper. Like, let's say that you want to like do something nice for the people. You want to establish hope, which is what you need to do to have a truly totalitarian society, right? Once a week, you go and you take like a ball or something, and you inside of it, you put like a little ticket, and whoever finds it, they get to like come and have like an all-you-can-eat meal up at the top of your palace, and then you just take a slingshot and you just shoot it off into the village into like the city below. Why not? Well, yeah, not like in your real house. You have like your little quarters where they come and they like hang out and eat.
Mukesh Ambani, I guess that's the richest dude in India, built the skyscraper mansion in Tia in downtown Mumbai near a densely populated area with many slums. A fact that sparked widespread debate about wealth disparity. The 27-story, $2 billion residence includes features like a 168-car garage and 3 helipads.
See, dude, yeah, exactly. You just set them up and they have their dinner in the garage, but they're inside. It'd be great.
Dude.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
A 167-car garage, that's a parking structure. That's like when you go to the hospital, you know, and you have to like go and drive up there.
The article is titled "The Richest Among Rags."
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Are we that far removed from that in some of the places in the United States?
Yeah, like, you go to like New York City and you've got like, what do they call that? Billionaires Row.
Billionaires Row. Yeah.
And they can look down on probably like areas of New York City that aren't very nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all in Manhattan. And so most of Manhattan's like, I think pretty decent these days. It's cleaned up.
Yeah, but you got to be able, from 100 stories up, you got to be able to see the slums.
Oh, yeah.
Of, I don't know, the Bronx or Brooklyn or something.
Yeah. Well, that new building they have is pretty wild. Like where the ultra rich people have, I actually don't know if that dude, was it Ryan Serhant? He's the like the big realtor there. He spoke at a GoBundance event. That's why I follow him. He's a pretty charismatic guy, but that's his whole thing. Is he like is the agent that can find buyers for these properties that are worth like $100 million. But they had that one in that super skinny building in Billionaires Row. It was like the highest ballroom in the world, I think, or maybe just New York. I don't know. But like, it's like at the very top when we were in New York last year, it's such a wild building because it's incredibly skinny. Like it's like, yeah, it looks really out of place.
The Steinway Tower.
Yeah.
The Steinway Tower.
Yeah. It's like super, super thin.
Yeah. And we taper at the top.
I think so.
This one looks like a taper. I see a picture of it right here.
Oh, yeah. I think it has to, because they when they were building it, they had to account for the fact that it was so thin and how the wind was going to like bend the building.
Really?
Yeah. But like when you're looking at that kind of stuff, I mean, that's the modern equivalent of what you're talking about in India, because you have this thing that's worth $150 million, maybe more than that.
Oh, yeah.
That's like up here, just like overlooking like the park and like all the people out eating their bagels and stuff in New York down below. You know, and who owns that? Like the crazy thing is too, is that will probably be owned by somebody that goes there like maybe once a year.
My guess is most of those are not owned by Americans. Like that you would know. They're like foreign people that want a place in the United States. And yeah, they probably a lot of Chinese, maybe some Indian, maybe some Russian oligarchs.
Probably, I would imagine. Yeah, he's had like random celebrities and stuff on his Instagram where he's like, I'm helping Mark Wahlberg find a new $45 million thing in New York City today.
Doesn't Mark Wahlberg have a place there in North Idaho?
Probably.
Somebody said it. Somebody said at Gaza Ranch there.
I could see that. I mean, it seems like his kind of place.
You know, come hang out and watch Transformer movies and shit.
Right. Yeah. Watch. Do you think that's what he does? Do you think he just like wanders around Gaza Ranch, like the bar, trying to like be like, "Hey, you guys want to see this really cool movie that I'm in?" And it's just like him trying to. Is he in like one Transformers movie? He's not in all of them.
Yeah, that's the only one I've ever seen. It's the
like the most recent one.
I don't know. I haven't seen one in like a long time.
He's just like he's like begging. He's like, "Look how cool I am! You want to come see this movie?"
He is an odd guy. He's in his 50s and he looks like he's like young, and he also dresses like he's young. Like he doesn't like he's got to be a little bit weird. He's got to be watching his own movies, dude.
For sure. He's like, "Hey, come to my house and watch Shooter with me. Come and watch." I've Google pulled up. Watch Ted.
Like, he actually has I'm starting this room here. He has like 50 kids, but he just, when they're born, he bites the stem cells out of their neck, and that's how he's
that's a South Park reference.
Is it really?
Yeah, with Christopher Reeves, you know, Superman. Basically how he's able to like stay alive after his injuries. He like eats fetuses. But I mean, you're not wrong. It could be. Yeah, I just imagine him wandering around, and then there's like Kim Kardashian and stuff there, just like, Mark, fuck off. You're so annoying. Right. And he's like, you don't want to come and watch Uncharted at my house? God.
Yeah, that's probably what he does.
It's like, I'm just going to be shirtless doing push-ups the whole time. Don't mind me.
What do you do when you're like the most famous person at like an area, and then another more famous person comes in?
Ooh, that's actually
like thing.
I bet it is. You know, I think, here's the thing is like, how much more famous are you than you are? Because like, for example, if they're here and like Jeff Bezos shows up, they're not going to care because that's like such a whole other level.
Yeah.
You know, but if it's like Mark Wahlberg hanging out and then like Ryan Reynolds comes and like buys a house across the street and it's like a little bit nicer.
Yeah. There's definitely some ego there, right? Yeah,
totally.
Sure. It's like billionaires with their yachts. Dude.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah,
Zuckerberg's getting into the yacht game, dude. I saw some memes out there. Like he's a yacht guy now, dude. He's full Republican. Now that Donald J. Trump's in office, Zuckerberg's cucked all the way Republican.
Man.
He's got a freaking yacht, dude.
He's full red hat.
Battery powered. I think it's gas powered.
I know. He started working out. He's got chains and stuff now.
Dude.
Yeah, he's going to jiu-jitsu. He's like intentionally, he's getting that new surgery that like false bros get where they like actually make it look like you have cauliflower ear. You didn't earn it. It's really it's like lip filler, but for bros, and you get like fake cauliflower ear.
Dude, you can just get cauliflower, dude. Just let somebody punch you in the ear.
I'm kidding. I don't think that's a real thing, but that would be pretty wild. Could buy
Probably
it.
Though.
Yeah, they kind of like they squish your nose a little bit and they just like really crush up the top of your ears. So like that guy's tough.
That all those guys look just like that. Is it because they're doing that, or is it they do that because they look like that? Like I think
it's because they're doing that.
Okay.
Because have you ever met a dude that looks like that didn't come from a wrestling background?
No.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fair enough.
But
smashed up nose. Just a bunch of ugly dudes, basically.
All of a sudden, he's gonna be walking around with like a permanent black eye. It's like, I've had that forever. It's like, well, what they do is they put a dye pocket in underneath there and they like inject it. So he looks tougher.
Okay, so speaking of black eyes, this will be the last bit of topical news we get.
And I'm just going to say it said black eyes.
Oh, black eyes. Black eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
What did you say? Was there a G in there?
Yeah.
Like a light G?
Yeah.
No. No, I was watching this like meme on Instagram in between my Charlie Kirk videos, and
you could not escape yesterday, dude. All I wanted to do, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, was just like watch some brain candy before bed, and all I have is my stream that is full of people that are just like going off on one tangent or the other. I'm just like, dude, I don't care. Can I just like
both sides?
Yeah, and then I found one video that was different, and it was this horrific gas explosion in Mexico City that had all these like people on fire. I'm like, God damn it, I'm just going to bed.
You're like, well, anyways, Scott Besson, he's the the secretary of the treasury? What is Scott Besson? He's like he's the anomaly because he's a gay Republican that works in Trump's administration. So he's kind of like this weird anomaly. And like he was talking and he was telling some dude he's gonna beat his ass, and then like legit like said that, and then they were like panned out to like Elon Musk having a black eye, and like now there's the rumors that he punched Elon Musk in the face in the White House. I was like, oh, that would be some really cool shit if that actually happened.
I could see that, and it triggered one of Musk's schisms, and he had to leave.
Seriously though, he's probably dude. If this dude's got a hot hand, he might have just popped the dude in the face.
I could see that. I have no idea who this guy is.
Steve Besson.
There's just so many names that thrown around.
Like I will say, I have seen some of his like things, like some of his like stuff that he wants to do and that he has. Like he's good at what he does.
Disclosed assets of over $600 million.
Yeah, he's rich, dude.
On a salary of $250,000 annually. Just remember, guys, he just follows the Gordon Ramsay, the Dave Ramsay method. He just does the envelopes and he just puts it in there.
His first job in the government in January, dude. Like, so he was rich before he became in the office. So he's not a Nancy Pelosi or like I don't know, what are those other?
Oh, he definitely.
I'm trying to find.
He was a hedge fund executive. That makes sense.
I'm trying to find the argument. I want to know who punched him in the face, dude. Somebody punched him in the face, dude. He didn't get it in the gym. He wasn't rolling around doing jujitsu.
Him and Mark, bro, they're getting real friendly.
And Elon did say there for a while he was going to fight Lizard Boy.
What are we talking about?
Shit got weird there for a while, dude.
It's still weird. It's getting weirder every day.
Last year, it got weird.
Dude, there's been so much weird shit. Do you remember when we bombed Iran in June? Yeah, was a thing that we did.
Oh yeah, was it Juno? Or was it that?
Yeah. So the only reason I remember this is because I was in Europe. I was sitting in the airport in London waiting to fly home when there's like the video of like the missiles that come into Iran, and we were like, "Fuck, are we like going to war right now? Like, are we going to be able to get on our flight?" And then my wife goes, "Who's going to feed the dog tomorrow?" I was like, that's first world problems. Like fully. Yeah. It's so funny. He's immediately go, who's going to take care of the dog?
While the other poor people from our country are at war.
Nah. God, whatever.
Anyways.
So, cool. I don't know. Keep buying houses. Don't over leverage yourself or sell your houses. But stuff's looking up in transactional way.
I think it's good. I think we're in a steady state.
I think we're in a steady state, right?
That's okay.
Yeah.
Steady state's good.
I think that's actually a really valid point, just to round this out, is we've been in a steady state for a long time, which is honestly how things probably should be. You know, there shouldn't be extreme ups or extreme downs. A mild up or a mild down is probably just the way that things are meant to be.
I hope so.
Cool. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening. You guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
See ya.